Yo, what's good, Jets Nation? This is Richie from Jets Media. Joining me today is Jack.
What up?
And we'll be talking about Joe Douglas's press conference that he had with the Jets Media and the Michael Kay Show. Joe Douglas had a lot to talk about, and this was very, a lot of Jets fans were looking forward to this moment because we are 0-8, and we are the worst team in NFL history, it seems like. So we need to see what Joe Douglas's vision is and where his perspective is on the current state of the New York Jets. He gave us his perspective of Adam Gase, Sam Darnold, how to build his team, his long-term vision, and basically, really quick before we get into the dissection of the whole interview, I'm not really too surprised of what Joe Douglas said. He pretty much said everything that I anticipated him to say. I knew going into this we have to take everything with a grain of salt because he's going to be getting fastball questions thrown at him where it's going to be really hard to answer, and he's not someone to point fingers. What Joe Douglas did is he took accountability and he put the blame on himself more than anybody else for the reason why the Jets are 0-8, and he did not want to point fingers at anybody else but himself. So that just shows you him about who he is as a person. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. So Jack, what was your first takeaway, and what do you really think that you took away from this Joe Douglas interview the most?
The thing that I took away from the most is that Joe Douglas is the only guy I've seen so far that can take the accountability for an 0-8 team. For some reason Adam Gase keeps skating away without any blame, and I just really don't understand it. It blows my mind. So that's really what I took away from this, is that Joe Douglas at least knows what's going on, knows that he has to do a better job, has said in front of cameras that he has to do a better job. That was reassuring to me. And then Douglas did have say some things that I liked for sure. He had some very reassuring things to say about Sam Darnold. He always talked about Sam in a positive light, and for me it always felt like he was very genuine when speaking about Sam, not very genuine when answering questions about Adam Gase. He seemed kind of hesitant in his answers to me. But he did say Adam Gase was going to be a part of the future of this team, and in a way sort of endorsed Adam Gase. I know no one's really expecting him to say, no, we got to fire the guy instantly, but that's definitely not what we want to hear, man, because who knows what Gase's future is going to be with this team. But overall, I thought it was okay. It was okay. It was obviously very depressing. We don't have a win. We all expected it to be depressing. The only positive question asked was about Mekhi Becton. So it was tough, man. But I think he handled it well.
Yeah, it was a tough watch just because we understand that Joe Douglas is going through a lot and he has a lot of work to do. And just for you guys that understand that Joe Douglas has no say in whether if Adam Gase is fired or not, that's all up to Christopher Johnson. So Joe Douglas came in here because of Adam Gase. If it was not for Adam Gase, Joe Douglas would not be the general manager for the New York Jets. So obviously Joe Douglas is not going to blame Gase for any of this. He said that it's all on him. He has to put more players around him, and it's up to him to be with the health and strength and conditioning coaches to make sure his guys are healthy and to provide depth, which he feels like he did not really do to his maximum potential this offseason, which is a reason why this Jets team looks so bad. You cannot expect Joe Douglas to go out there and just point fingers and say, you know what, Adam Gase is not the guy to coach this team. We're excited to bring in a new coach. He's not going to say that. Everything he said about Adam Gase, I'm not taking seriously because he and Adam Gase are friends off the business side of things. Before they were working together, they were really good friends. So, like I said, Christopher Johnson and Woody Johnson are the one that will fire Adam Gase. Joe Douglas has no say whatsoever. So let's get into some interesting questions. So Joe Douglas definitely took accountability, and one of those things was saying that he admits that it was wrong to let Robbie Anderson walk out of the door. Obviously, Jets fans, we hear that, we're like, yeah, well, he's not a Jet, so why should we be happy? It's a mistake that Joe Douglas made, and every single Jets fan can agree that it was not the right decision to let Robbie Anderson walk out the door. What Joe Douglas said is they really they overvalued his market in the wide receiving group. They expected Robbie to get way more money than what he signed for in Carolina. If Joe Douglas understood how much money he was going to be signed in the Panthers, he probably would have took that deal. But Joe Douglas learned from that mistake. He said, okay, that was a mistake. And it's just reassuring to hear that our general manager is taking accountability and he is owning up to his mistakes. It'd be way better if he just flashes it off and says, you know what, we didn't really think Robbie Anderson was the right guy for this team and we're happy with someone else. That was the best answer you could have possibly gave us with that question thrown at him. There's a lot of things that he had to say, and the best thing that I got from it was he reassured his future plans is to build through the draft. All previous Jets general managers have not done that. There was a question thrown at him asking, you know what, we have a lot of cap flexibility going into this offseason, probably the most in the league. Are you guys going to be more aggressive? because you guys were not aggressive last year. And he gave the perfect answer. He said the good organizations in sports, not just the NFL, they do not buy their way out of losing. They build through the draft and build a foundation, and that takes time. So it's good to see that Joe Douglas isn't panicking, and he's like, oh my God, I need to fix this really quick, because if I don't fix this by next year, then I'm screwed. He understands that you need to build through the draft, and we have 9 draft picks in the next 2 years, 8 draft picks in the first 3 rounds in the next 2 years. Think of that. So Jack, what are your really thoughts of his vision of understanding that you need to build through the draft, because that's going to take a lot of time?
I love that. I feel like as Jets fans, that's something we haven't gotten before. You know, we signed Brett Favre, we give Tremaine Johnson big money. Like, we're a terrible team historically that for some reason is always in this win now mindset, and it hasn't really worked for us ever. For 50 years, it hasn't worked for us. So I like that Joe Douglas seems to. First of all, he's got all the respect that we need in a GM. You know, he's a respected guy around the league. He's been a scout before, so. I mean, we see he hit a home run with the Mekhi Becton pick. So, you know, if we can, for once, build this football team through the draft and all of a sudden have a bunch of studs on rookie contracts, that's when you can make the win now big move.
Exactly.
You know?
And he even mentioned, he said, you know, we're going to build through the draft, or we're going to remain to have cap flexibility. So in the future, if we're in position to make that big flashy free agent signing or that flashy trade, we have the ammunition and the cap flexibility in order to do that. So he's just building his ammo. Joe Douglas is building an entire box of ammunition for the future, and it's hard to see his vision right now because we are 0-8 and this team looks absolutely atrocious. And Joe Douglas took accountability for everything. He put all of his faith in Sam Darnold when asking that question. He said that he thinks Sam Darnold is ultra talented and he's the quarterback for the future. You know what? I'm taking that with a grain of salt as well, because right now it's November 3rd and the Jets are 0-8, but we don't know what the draft situation is going to be. You know, this can totally change, flip on its head. If Sam continues to play the way he's been playing in the first 6 games he played for the remaining 8 games, then Joe Douglas will probably have to reevaluate that. But right now, Joe Douglas is sticking to his guy like he should in the press conference. He should not say anything bad about Sam, because that would be very unprofessional. So for Joe Douglas to give his quarterback a vote of confidence and understand that, you know what, Sam Darnold has not had 3 of his starting receivers play once together, and this offensive line has been a mess with injuries. And Joe Douglas does not make any excuses. It's just the truth of the facts that he did not prepare for these injuries properly. There was no depth behind the offensive line of wide receivers that they needed in order to be successful. So, you know what? I really don't think it's easy to evaluate Sam Darnold under this measure, and Joe Douglas is right there with that. So I'm really intrigued to see what Joe Douglas's plans would be if we do land that first pick and if Sam Darnold continues to progress, because we know Joe Douglas loves draft capital. We know that he would love to trade out of that pick, but we also know he values the quarterback position more than any other position in sports. So it's really interesting to see. So
yeah, I mean, me personally tonight has me actually more comfortable thinking about Sam potentially having a future on this team. I mean, Douglas said 2 or 3 times, he said, I need to do a better job of surrounding Sam with talent. As the GM, I need to do a better job of surrounding Sam with talent. Totally true. It's what you have to do as the GM. Sam has nobody to throw the ball to. Maybe if they're all healthy on the field at the same time, maybe there's something there, but, you know, we're just dealing with the injury bug. And it's a next man up mentality. It's just something that you got to deal with. So, you know, I love that Joe Douglas is a give it to you straight kind of guy. He takes the accountability that someone needs on this team. But then it makes me think, like, you know, Christopher Johnson, you know, people are blaming Sam. Now people are blaming Joe Douglas because Joe Douglas is willingly taking the blame. What does Christopher Johnson get to say? Oh, well, you know, Adam Gase isn't getting any heat. So I just don't understand why Gase continues to be blameless throughout this. Why? I mean, obviously we the fans give him all the blame, but why throughout the organization is everybody so afraid to piss off Adam Gase? Tell it like it is. Can somebody tell it like it is?
No, I couldn't agree more. You know, you can't expect Joe Douglas to point fingers, but at the same time, I wish he did say that Adam Gase and the coaching staff needs to do a better job. What Douglas did is he put all the blame on himself, and he did not want to point fingers. But at the same time, you need to hold your head coach accountable, and it does give a lot of Jets fans, including us, a little fear that Adam Gase could not be fired by the end of the year. Now it's a really scary sight, and if Adam Gase is here next year, we know that majority of Jets fans will be livid. They're going to not watch the games, And I really don't think that that's going to end up happening. But obviously, listening to these press conferences, and Adam Gase continuously does not get blamed for anything. It's really insane. First of all, Joe Douglas takes the blame for himself. He understands he needs to do a better job at his job. Sam Darnold, he goes on the Michael Kay show every single Monday, and he says he needs to play better. The reason why we're not winning football games is because of me. I need to play better as a quarterback. Adam Gase in the press conferences does not take the blame at all. So, I feel like Sam Darnold has a future in this league as a quarterback, whether it's on the New York Jets or not. I feel like Joe Douglas is he hasn't proven himself yet, but he is a high-quality GM who I think has every single potential to build a winning organization. Adam Gase, on the other hand, does not deserve to be a coach in this league. He should be unemployed by 2021, but we will see how that happens. It's just super frustrating as Jets fans to continuously see Adam Gase get a little free pass of saying, you know what?
It's ridiculous.
The players weren't there for him and this and that. Great coaches deal with adversity and don't take the excuse of the O-line and playmakers.
Decent coaches deal with adversity. This guy's 0-8. He doesn't have a win. He does not deserve to be coaching in the National Football League. Probably not even college. Maybe not even high school. Wake up, Christopher Johnson. What are you doing? Why does this guy still have a job in New York? I got to bring up something that I heard today. First of all, just so you guys know, you guys can look it up. Obviously, this year's COVID, so we're not allowed to have people at MetLife. Look up the NFL 2019 attendance ratings, and you will see at number 2 behind the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, is the New York Jets. We haven't won a championship in 50 years. We share a stadium with the Giants, who have won the Lombardi Trophy 4 times, and we have the second best attendance in the league. Joe Douglas is asked today, what do you tell a fan when you're 0-8? And I have a direct quote here. It says, "As frustrated as we all are, please give these players and the staff support as best as you can throughout the season. These guys give it their all every day in practice and on the field, and things just haven't worked out." 2 points I need to make there. First of all, I hate when they keep bringing up, and Gase does it too all the time. Well, I see these guys in practice. They're working hard. You're not practicing against the Pittsburgh D. You're not practicing against the Colts. You're practicing against the Jets. I don't care what you do in practice because you're practicing against scrubs, no names. Stop mentioning practice. We don't care about what goes on in practice. We don't watch practice. We watch the games on Sundays. I don't want to hear any more about practice. Second of all, give these players and staff support as best you can throughout the season. Where's the support for us, man? I've been a diehard fan for almost 23 years, as long as I can remember. Second best attendance rating in the entire NFL, and we haven't won a championship in 50 years. Where's the support for us, man? There's nobody saying anything positive about anything, man. Within the organization, obviously. Obviously, us fans are entitled to be as upset as we want because we've been suffering for half a century. But within the organization, it's like they try to push everything off to the side and just pretend that nothing exists, that that they're not 0-8. It's just ridiculous, man. It's a joke. The team's a joke. It's all a joke, man. I'm sorry. That was my little rant.
No, yeah, of course. This is a very rantable video. This is a video where, we're going to give it to you straight and exactly how I feel. Emotions are raw right now. Every single Jets fan is livid.
Raw, bro.
Every single Jets fan has every single right to be upset with the ownership, upset with the general manager, with the head coach, with the entire team, with the way they're playing. It's unacceptable. The New York Jets attendance rate was up last year. The one thing I would say about that is a big reason is because a lot of opposing teams do travel to MetLife. So we don't know if that's all Jets fans, but at the same time, the Johnsons are profiting off of revenue, and it's annoying because it feels like the Johnsons only care about profiting and not winning football games. So, you know what? Just the last little takeaway from this Joe Douglas interview before we wrap this up is, you know what? Joe Douglas has a long-term vision, and it's going to be really hard to see it because they are building through the draft. And in order to build through the draft, we need to let time run its course, which is going to be a long time. We have to wait for the 2021 draft and then think of how far away the 2022 draft. And then think of how long from now we need to see those draft picks starting to develop. So it's going to be a long, long journey. And just know that Joe Douglas has the opposite of short-term thinking. So he's going to sacrifice the now for the future. And that's okay for me personally. As a long-suffering Jets fan, I'd rather the Jets build it the right way for 5 years than build it, short-term thinking for 2 years. We win, we get to the playoffs, and then we just suck because we're in cap hell forever. I'd rather build it from the ground up, rip this part to the ground, build through the draft, hit on all your draft picks as we hope, and we can have prosperity for the next 15 to 20 years. That's how big organizations build a foundation, and that's what's going to take. And Joe Douglas understands that. He said that I need to be judged on every single draft pick I make, because that's what's going to make or break his tenure as a New York Jets general manager. If he whiffs on the draft, then we're screwed. It's all up to Joe Douglas's draft ability and his whole team, the whole front office. They need to nail this draft, because listen, they have 8 draft picks in the first 3 rounds in the next 2 years. Do you have any idea how insane that is? If we can get 6 out of 8 of those to be cornerstone players, that's a tremendous positive. So just understand, Joe Douglas came on and he got a lot of questions thrown at him. He put all of his support in Sam Darnold. He defended Adam Gase as I expected, and he said a lot of things. He thinks Quinnen Williams and Mekhi Becton are 2 guys that they need to build around, because the defensive line and the offensive line is the most important position in sports, according to him, outside the quarterback. He said that you need to build from the inside out, and that's reassuring, because Jets general managers previously have not really done that. So that's really my whole take on this. I know this has been a long video. Me and Jack just want to bring you guys our quick little breakdown. Jack, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, me and Richie live and breathe the Jets. We make videos. We can see the long term, we can see the long-term vision. We can acknowledge the thought process of Joe Douglas. But I just want to say to the casual fan who just wants to see a win on Sunday, man, I feel your pain. I'm with you, man. It's hard times, but it's going to get better, man. It can't get much worse, so it's got to get better. That's all I got to say.
Exactly. It can't get much worse. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this video. If you guys are watching to this moment, comment down a Jet emoji, and make sure you go over to Twitter, follow my boy Jack at Jack_NY Jets. He always posts about the Jets. So
Yes, sir.
That really does it for this video. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Let's go Jets. I'll catch you guys in my next one.
Peace out, guys.
Peace.